Beginning. The first time I saw her, she was standing on the observation deck of the Astraeus, staring into the black expanse of the Helion Nebula. The lights from the nebula reflected across her silver-gray skin, turning her into something that looked half made of stars. Her name was Veyra, though to most of the human crew she was just the alien liaison. The Virulans were recent allies of the Terran Federation, but calling them allies was generous. We didn't trust them and they didn't trust us. I was Lieutenant Aaron Keene, Mission Security Officer. My job was to keep an eye on her, and if necessary make sure she never got close to classified systems. But that night something about her silence caught my attention. "You always stand here alone?" Yes. Her eyes, dark violet, nearly luminous, shifted toward me. "Humans are loud when they're uncomfortable. I find quiet easier. That's one way of saying we talk too much." Her lips curved slightly. Exactly. There was a grace to her, fluid and still like a dancer frozen in time. And though we'd been briefed that the Virulans were a biologically distinct species, tall, luminous, with fractal patterns that shimmered faintly beneath their skin, I couldn't help but think she looked almost human. Almost. The next few weeks passed in tense silence. The Astraeus was en route to a disputed system near the Virulan border, a planet both our species claimed. We called it Theta 4. They called it Aria. I was told to monitor Veyra closely. The brass thought she might try to manipulate the negotiations, or worse, sabotage them. But Veyra wasn't what I expected. She never raised her voice. She never demanded anything. Instead, she asked questions, endless, quiet questions. Why do humans eat together when they distrust each other? Why do you smile when you're sad? Why do you build weapons and call it peace? I never had the right answers. But she didn't seem to mind. She just wanted to understand. Then one evening, as I passed the observation deck, I saw her there again, gazing into the nebula, the faint blue light tracing the lines of her face. Without thinking, I joined her. She didn't turn. "Do you find me difficult to look at?" The question startled me. "No." "Why?" "Because humans avert their eyes when something makes them uneasy. You do not." "I've seen a lot worse than you," I said. She turned her head slightly, one corner of her mouth lifting. "Flattery, Lieutenant." "Observation," I said. Her eyes lingered on me a moment too long, and I realized that, for all her calm, she was studying me just as intently. That night, for the first time, I wondered if I was guarding her, or if she was the one examining me. Middle. 2 days later, everything went wrong. An ion storm hit us mid-transit, strong enough to fry half the navigation systems. The Astraeus was forced to take refuge near an uncharted moon. Power fluctuations knocked out communications, and our captain, Ramos, ordered all departments to lockdown. Veyra's quarters lost life support first. By the time I reached her section, the temperature had dropped below freezing, and the emergency seals were jammed. I tore open the manual hatch, and cold air hit me like a fist. Veyra was inside, motionless, frost forming along the ridges of her armor. Her eyes flickered open when she saw me. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "Neither should you," I said, grabbing her arm. Her skin was shockingly cold, not icy but charged like static energy humming beneath her surface. I pulled her out into the corridor, slammed the door shut, and sealed the section behind us. When we reached the secondary power core, she finally caught her breath, or whatever passed for breath among her kind. "Why?" she asked softly. "What do you mean, why?" "You risked exposure. Humans can't tolerate our core field energy for long. You should have collapsed." I shrugged, ignoring the numbness creeping up my arm. "Guess I'm stubborn." She looked at me for a long moment, her gaze unreadable. "In virulent culture," she said quietly, "to share life in danger is to share essence. You have bound yourself to me, whether you know it or not." I laughed uneasily. "You people have a ritual for everything, don't you?" But she didn't laugh. After the storm passed, life aboard the Astraeus returned to uneasy normal. Except for me. Something about that night stayed with me. The feel of her energy, the calm in her voice even when she was freezing to death. I caught myself glancing her way in briefings, noticing the faint shimmer of light beneath her skin whenever she breathed. One night, as I checked the external systems, she appeared beside me silently, like she'd stepped out of the dark. "Do you dream, Lieutenant Keene?" "Sometimes," I said. "Not much use out here." "Humans dream even when they are awake," she said softly. "You look at the stars and think of things you cannot reach. That is dreaming." Smiled. "Maybe." She stepped closer, her violet eyes reflecting the light from the console. "Virulens don't dream," she said. "We remember." "Remember what?" "Everything. Even pain." There was a pause. The hum of the ship seemed distant, replaced by the slow rhythm of her breathing. Then she asked it. "Do you think I'm beautiful?" The question struck me like a sudden drop into gravity. My mouth went dry. I wanted to answer. I wanted to tell her that yes, she was beautiful, in a way that made human words feel small and primitive. That there was something mesmerizing about the way she looked at the universe, as if she saw patterns in light itself. But I couldn't, because saying it would mean something I didn't yet understand. So I stayed silent. Her eyes softened. The faint light under her skin pulsed once, like a heartbeat. "Silence," she said, "is an answer." And then she walked away. Ending. The next morning we received orders from Earth Command. The Virulan delegation was to be transferred back to their fleet. Negotiations had failed. It wasn't a surprise. Most alliances with alien species ended that way. But when Veyra learned of it, she didn't protest. She simply stood on the docking platform, calm, waiting for the transfer shuttle. Before she left, she turned to me. "You've seen the way your kind looks at me, Lieutenant. To them, I am an alien, a threat, a problem to be solved." "You're not a problem," I said quietly. She stepped closer. "Then what am I?" I hesitated, the same silence threatening to swallow me again. Her eyes searched mine, patient, almost tender. "You still have no words." "Words wouldn't mean enough," I finally said. Something in her expression changed. Faint surprise, then understanding. "I told you once that silence is an answer," she said softly. "But perhaps so is what you do not say." Before I could respond, the docking alarm sounded. Her shuttle doors opened. She turned, hesitated, then reached up and pressed her hand against my chest, a gesture I didn't understand until light flared between us. "You share my essence now," she whispered. "When you look into the dark, remember that not all silence is empty." Then she was gone. Months later, after the failed treaty had sparked new hostilities, the Astraeus was assigned to the front again, this time near the Virulan border. During a skirmish with an unidentified fleet, our ship was crippled. Alarms screamed. Fire tore through the hull. And then the Virulans appeared.